All right, guys, we is live. Finally. For sure. I'm trying to find a way to view it. So I can't see the comments from my streaming application. So I have to be on there. Oh, I can't. Ew, that's annoying. Please stop. Application. So I have to be. Okay, guys, so we get into some topics for the week. Pretty much everything that I have posted, we're talking about. It's only right that I do a Pink Friday 2 review. Please know that I am not a barb. I am meaning that I'm not a person that supports Nicki as a person, but I am a very balanced music person, and good music is good music. Trash music is trash music. So I would definitely give my full honest opinion on that. We got Royce Reed. That's going to be our main video that we're going to be watching today. She did an interview pretty much talking about her and Dwight Howard on if she knew he was gay or not. And we're going to get into more of her recent charges with her son, child neglect, a little him sexually abusing kids. It's very heavy, but is what she's dealing with right now, and which is what I assume she's doing these interviews with to clear up her image. We also have Monica and C Murda. We're going to get into, we don't really know what happened with them, but more of the history and what I think. And then we're going to get into Diddy. Did I say Diddy? Diddy got some new charges, child. And at this point, everybody is not lying, but we're going to get into that. He is accused of gang raping a male when they had to be around 20 years old, and they were both attending Howard University. I should have put that picture of Diddy around that time because it's funny. And I think that's about it. So join me as we get started. So first, Pink Friday 2 review. So first off, Nicki's marketing for this album is by far the best. It is fitting for her as her being or claiming herself to be the queen of rap. Whenever you're coming out with an album, you should have a straightforward marketing plan, and that, with her being a pioneer, showed her difference. You had Gag City, and then she has the Barbs. The Barbs are by far the most annoying group of fans, because they assume that if you don't like her music, you don't like her. But what she has done with the Barbs is top far genius. She's going to be fed for life. She's going to eat for life, because she has a strong fan base, and you're nothing without your fans. So her marketing by far was the best. I actually forgot that the album was coming out, and I was on another blog. I think it was some type of hip hop blog, and they had different blog articles about Nicki on her 20 best features, her 20 best songs. And I'm like, dang, her album's coming out tomorrow, and that's what you're supposed to do. Now, as for the album, on the first listen, I was like, I don't know. But then I worked out a little bit today, and I listened to the album, because that is really the way I'm able to get a feel of an album and actually listen to it focused. And the first song, I think, was amazing. I wanted to cry because, you know, she was speaking about losing her dad, and you don't really hear a lot of artists make songs about losing their parents. And that's something that a lot of people experience, and you don't really get that side. I mean, you get losing your grandmother or your friend, but I actually love that song. I love how she included Papa Bear in there, and how the singing kind of sounded like a kid, like a baby. It was very beautiful. Overall, I think that the album had great variety of songs. She's definitely in her pop bag with this one, but I think it had a great variety of songs and a few features, a few singles. The song with her and Uzi Vert, Everybody, that song is going to be the top song of 2024. That song is amazing. Like, she did it with that one. What I don't like about the album is I feel like her lyrics, her flow is always going to be Nicki. That's her shit. but the production of the album did not accessorize that. The production of the album, it just wasn't giving production. It was giving YouTube beats, and it's almost as if those producers, the game have changed. So producers, they are making more of generic beats, you know, so they can sell on YouTube. What I would have liked to see from Nicki with her production is for her to team with some of those pioneer producers like Just Blaze, Timbaland, Dr. Dre. And I know that it's like a little old school, but I think for this to be that stamp Pink Friday album, I think it would have been dope. But even will.i.am, I think those people would have been able to capture her sound and to set her up. Now, this album by itself, a good album, but what is going to make it a great album is everything else that she does with it. If you look at Beyonce, someone who I could say around 2013, 14, you know, it's that gap for artists when they kind of get off the scene and new people come in and the younger generation are not listening to them anymore. As a seasoned artist, you have to have an entire campaign to get the younger crowd to listen. As for Nicki, her tour is going to be the thing that is going to make this album a great album. So I really have high hopes for this tour. I really have high hopes for this tour. I hope that she takes the Barbs to Gag City. I hope that it is giving, like, it's like a nostalgic moment, and it's a way to really give the fans that experience. The tour is going to be the thing that's going to help this album, and she will be on tour. So that's all I have to say about Nicki Minaj and her album. I think it's a solid, good album. It really is. I am a Megan Thee Stallion fan, but she did good this album. She didn't say too much. Now, whenever Meg drops, if I was Meg's friend, I would tell her to not even, like, just don't even address it. But if Meg drop a couple bars, it's something that I'll be waiting on, because I think Meg is the only person that can spit against Nicki. Cardi can't, and I love Cardi. All right, next topic. We got Diddy. Diddy is accused of gang raping a classmate on some creepy stuff. And instead of me talking about it, I'm just going to play the video. How about that? And then the podcast that this came from is the logo is on there. I think it's Tough Podcast or something. So you guys can check that out on YouTube to get the full video. I only captured this one part. And this is a very new video, probably yesterday it came out. So the blogs probably aren't talking about it yet, but they will. I need to turn my notifications off because that's annoying.
And a friend of his on April the 15th, 1989 in D.C. It has took a lot of strength for me to get to this stage of self-assurance, but I now know that I have nothing to be ashamed of. I attended Howard University the same time he was there, and I was taken advantage of after an off-campus party. I would be the first to admit that I was a bit inebriated. Diddy noticed that I was intoxicated and offered to give me a ride back to my dorm. I trusted him at the time because we were acquainted with one another, because we had an economics class together. So I get in the car with him, and we ended up at an apartment. He gets out and says he needs to get something, and he would be right back. After a few minutes, he came back to the car and invited me in, saying he needed to sober up before driving back to campus. I said, okay, cool. I get out and go into the apartment, and there was another guy sitting on the couch. The guy introduces himself as Lorenzo, and he was drinking E&J and smoking trees. Diddy goes to the bathroom, and he's in there for about 30 minutes or more. He comes out and asks me if I want to drink, and I said sure. He fixed me a drink, and the next thing I know is I was weak, disoriented, and my vision was blurred. I was then told to snip something out of a bottle that would make me feel better, and so I did it, and it just seemed to make me even higher. I now know that it was poppers. Then all I remember is...
Can someone tell me what are poppers? I'm gonna have to Google it. So if you were just getting in, this guy wrote this podcast on his story about him and Diddy. He was very drunk at a party. He has seen Diddy around campus as a fellow student. Diddy offered to give him a ride. He accepted. Diddy said he wanted to sober up before going back to campus and invited him in the apartment. When he came into the apartment, there was a guy there smoking weed and drinking E&J. If he was drinking E&J, you know the time had to be like the 90s. And he says Diddy went into the bathroom for about 30 minutes, came out and offered him a drink. He accepted the drink and he started... Did I get the details wrong? He accepted the drink, started feeling dizzy. Then Diddy told him to sniff something out of the bottle that would make him feel better. Now, my thing is, he was drunk, so we're not going to say you're able to think logically. But sniffing something out of a bottle that makes you feel good, I mean, I don't think that's logical. Let's go.
Both of them taking turns sticking their hot dogs in my mouth.
Wait a minute. Let's rewind. We got to be prepared for that.
Both of them taking turns sticking their hot and asked me if I want a drink, and I said sure. He fixed me a drink, and the next thing I know is I was weak, disoriented, and my vision was blurred. I was then told to sniff something out of a bottle that would make me feel better, and so I did it, and it just seemed to make me even higher. I now know that it was poppers. Then all I remember is both of them taking turns sticking their hot dogs in my mouth, and I'm paraphrasing, guys, and me resisting all I could, but I was just weak and flimsy, and Lorenzo had a gun. The next thing I know, they both were taking turns trying to facilitate me, and blood and mud, alright? Paraphrasing here, what looks like mud. Number two, right, was everywhere. The pain of them facilitating me, and I'm paraphrasing again, still gives me anxiety to this day. Alright, so you guys just heard all of that, and I do want to protect the integrity of my platform and say that everything that I just conveyed to you is all alleged. Now, I did ask him, was he going to file a lawsuit against Diddy like everybody else, and he said he absolutely was. He was just getting all of his ducks in a row, making sure that everything is copacetic before he moves forward. But he says that Diddy's going to pay for what he did to him that night, that he's never been the same person ever since that night. Now, something else that he said that would be a game changer when he files a lawsuit against Diddy is the fact that he said that he still has the same clothes that he had on from the night that he was essayed by Diddy and his friend and a friend of his and a friend.
How y'all feel about that? When he said he has the same clothes, are they like washed clothes, or did he like, or is it like in a bag and it's still the DNA on it for like 20 plus years ago? Now, some people in the comments of the YouTube video is saying that they don't believe it. It's 20 years later and he still have the clothes. He didn't go to the police, but he's going to a blogger. And I will say that I don't agree with that. Because a male being raped by two other men around their age, that's something that is very hard to accept and to talk about. Coming out in the 90s and the early 2000s would have been horrific for him because no one would believe him. And it would, at that time, society wasn't ready to talk about those type of things. They wouldn't be able to look at P. Diddy, who is around this time a mogul, an icon that is still doing his thing in the industry. They would automatically assume that that man was after money. He would have lost. So I'm thinking that what I like about Cassie is her lawyers knew what they were doing. She filed publicly and not private. She settled within the day, and people were asking, why did she settle? For a lot of different reasons. Her filing publicly, although they settled, was enough evidence for everything that P. Diddy is doing to be ruined, to be torn down. People pulling out of deals with him. Because now, social media society, our culture, we will cancel people in a minute if they continue to support someone with these horrific things. So this young man, this probably Diddy's age now, came out, and I believe every word of it. If it's a false story, it's sad that it's something that is fitting for Diddy, and that man is a monster, a creep. Let me know what y'all think about that. I think by next year we're gonna have a survivor. Well, 50 Cent is working on a documentary, and 50 Cent is going to give all the proceeds to a charity that supports sexual assault victims. And 50 Cent is posing as a hero right now, and I'm here for it, because if anybody is going to take Diddy down, it will be 50 Cent. Monica and C Murda. Y'all, I'm like exhausted. When I tell you I'm tired, but I promised myself I was going to go live yesterday. But I had to go to my nephew's party. I have been working 10 hours and I didn't. So I had to go live today. So Monica and C Murda, they have broken up. And Monica said that she was left completely heartbroken. She says that she has moved on and she wants all of us to move on. But unfortunately, Monica, it's not that easy when you publicly, I don't know you. When you publicly had this relationship out to everyone, when you're performing his songs on stage and everybody is assuming that this is your man. Everybody's saying this is goals, this is couple goals and all that type of thing. So when you show up on the red carpet with somebody else and you say, you know, you got over it, we should get over it. We'll get over it eventually, but people got to speculate the pieces. So Monica and C Murda were dating back when she was like 16. C Murda was a little grown thug thing that she was seeing. And you know, a lot of things happened. They ended up going their separate ways. He went to prison. Now, at the beginning of his prison time, he told Monica allegedly to you know, move on with her life, and you know, just don't wait on me, whatever, move on. Monica has been in a long-term relationship with Rocco, and she was married, and now she's divorced. And then she went back to C Murda. Now, according to Monica, she has always been there visiting him and always has been communicating with him. And I just wonder what has changed, or what changed to where 20 years later, you are showcasing that you're with him. To the point to where you had Kim Kardashian to represent him. And I think Kim Kardashian is still representing him. He could possibly get out. So Monica used her connects to help him. Now, there was some beef between Master P and Monica because C Murda made a post thanking Monica for everything that she has done. And Master P was like, you know, we're your family. We've been here the whole time. So this lady who's known you all of these years, she's just not coming forth. How long has she known Kim Kardashian? Why is she just not coming forth? He later apologized to Monica and said that, you know, positive energy, whatever. Now, C Murda used Monica, in my opinion. Monica thought that their history, you know, her being with him at 16, her status, her connects, and what she was able to do for him would outweigh everything that this woman right here has done. So I really wish Monica would have just played the sidelines, helped the man out, go on with your life. You know, it ended in heartbreak, and I wonder what the heartbreak was. He probably went back to this lady. This lady says that Monica didn't do anything. She said, I don't remember Monica spending a dime. She also said that Monica only manipulated. She was married and, you know, sneaking to see him. And she was only manipulating his kids. And this lady, whenever the picture come back, she actually moved 4 minutes away from the prison to be closer to him. So Ms. Lady been by his side for years, and she wasn't having it with Monica. So I'm thinking that he probably went back to her. But, you know, you never knows. I tried to follow the Instagram page that was posting that. I don't know if it was the right one, but we'll see with that. So, what do y'all think about that? How do you feel about reconnecting with somebody that was your love at 16? Because, like, me personally, any of my little puppy love boyfriends at 16, we don't have anything in common. We don't have anything to talk about. And if you're in prison for life, yeah, shit out of luck with me. And then it's like, you know, see, Murda was a grown man. It's like at some point you have to realize when you're that young and these older guys are after you. You have to realize who these men are at the core. These young men, these men that are after these teenagers, they're not of substance for the women their age, especially if you have to go to a teenager. A teenager, beyond me. But yeah, for some reason it was accepted in the culture and we just overlooked that part. Thank you, cousin. I love you. So I think it was doomed from the beginning. Going back to your first love or whatever, helping him get him out of prison. I definitely think, you know, them 20 years sitting behind them bars changed his mind as far as, you know, moving on with your life. You know, good thing that you did and whatever. Nick Cannon's on the fire for light skin versus dark skin. And, you know, I'm really sick of this man. You know, we really give people passes because they have money. Money doesn't separate you from... Money doesn't make no difference as to your character. Let me say that. A lot of times we like to look at money as being a cover-up. You can do whatever you want. And you can. But stuff like this is where it looks bad. Dark skin versus light skin. What possessed Nick Cannon to think that this was a great idea? What was going through his head? Now, this man has a lot of baby mamas. I don't think any of them are 100% black women. Probably have some black in their line. I can't deny that. He has wanted to do a show exploiting black women, putting them against each other. Now I wonder if that was Nick Cannon. If that was Nick Cannon, let me look at this damn picture. Hold on. Because what exactly are we saying? Bad versus wild Las Vegas. What does that mean? Is it the baddies versus the wild and out girls? Are the wild and out girls the wild and out? I don't know. Are they the light skin? Are the baddies the dark skin? Could someone please fill me in on what this means before I get all heated and take this out of control? Because it's just not looking good, you know. It's also not surprising that it's on Zeus Network. We support... Oh, I haven't seen not one episode of Baddies, sorry. But it's on Zeus Network, and Zeus has been doing nothing but exploiting the black community, and it's owned by a black man. But hey, that's what makes money in our community. We live and thrive off drama. We support drama. So I can't judge a person if I'm not in their shoes. So what y'all think about that? Do y'all think it's harmless? Do y'all think it's tacky? Because I think that shit's tacky. Light skin versus dark skin. And Nick Cannon, the same person that said that 80% of women, of all women, have odors. How the hell you know? Have you had sex with 80% of all the women in the world? I think he was better off saying 80% of the women he slept with, to include his baby mamas, have an odor. I think that would have been better for him to say. He's around here having unprotected sex with all these women, getting 5 of them pregnant at the same time. And he's surprised that they have an odor. And he says he's got tested for BV, so it didn't come from him. Yeah. All right, so that looks like that's the main topics. Let's get into this this interview. If this is your first time on my live, what we do is we watch the interview directly. I try not to talk a lot, and I may not talk a lot because this is about Royce Reed. Now, Miss Royce has been fighting charges for her son. Her son has... How can I say this? Her son has taken advantage of other kids sexually. I think the first time... Yeah, my friend just wrote me a message. I haven't talked to her in a while. She said she loves me and she missed me and she just thought about me. I want to cry. Yes, so Royce's son, I think the first time was with a young lady, a young girl that he touched inappropriately. And he was told to be kept away from kids, per to Royce. Royce met somebody, had a new man. Her man had kids, had a son. And Royce was actively taking her son to therapy. And he relayed to the therapist that he would sometimes have his stepbrother give him oral whenever he was mad. And the therapist, of course, notified the correct people. Royce got arrested for child neglect because her son was not allowed to be around other kids. I wonder if her and the man broke up. Could you imagine that, being in a relationship with somebody and their child touches your child? And, you have to watch everybody around your kids, but specifically other kids, because children trust their peers, especially kids that don't know any better, kids that's not exposed to that thing. So they're most likely to be taken advantage of by other kids. And those kids are only mirroring what is done to them. So I think Royce understood that, and she took him to therapy. Now, there is a little bit back and forth on the fact that maybe the son was touched under Dwight Howard's care. Dwight has a child abuse case for beating his son, I think with like the belt buckle or something like that. People were saying that Dwight saw his actions and beat him about it or whatever. Now, all of this is just not a coincidence that Dwight has had a few cases of him taking advantage of younger boys. So it's kind of sad to see. It's kind of like I'm conflicted because Royce is, she has been in prison or jail, and she has done community service about this, dealing with her kid, but the father is like, outside of his allegations, the father is kind of going scotch-free. The father is saying that these young boys want his money instead of him wanting a booty hole. So let's get into this interview. Royce is doing a lot of PR control because she has about maybe 2 to 3 interviews within the past month. Royce is doing a lot of image control and clearing up her image with these interviews. And she's speaking about her and Dwight Howard and child support and all of those things. So yeah, I'm gonna, if you're new to this, you wanna watch it, you might hear me in the background, but this is just gonna be a watch session. Go get you some snacks, drink you some water, and watch it out with me. If it gets too long-winded, you can turn it off, come back on. Oh, I forgot to mention, I put this on my YouTube channel. So yeah, if you miss it, I will have the chapters up. So let's get into Royce.
All right, here we go. Today we have Royce Reed, former cheerleader for the Orlando Magic and Miami Heat, former cast member of Basketball Wives, and Dwight Howard's son's mother. As we all know, Dwight Howard has been Dwight Howarding recently. So welcome to Vlad TV.
Thank you.
Okay, it's your first time here, so I want to start with the very beginning. So you were born and raised in Orlando, Florida.
Yes, I grew up in Tangelo Park. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what was Orlando like in the mid-90s?
My neighborhood was, like they say, lit. But it taught me a lot of street smarts. I grew up by the church, so I guess our street wasn't considered, to be one of those streets. But I think my dad's biggest worry when we were growing up was he didn't want us to grow up without knowing both sides. So I always went to a white school. We used a different address. That's illegal now. But I grew up in a black neighborhood. And I think that's where I get my strength from. I think that's what's taught me how to keep fighting. And yeah, I went to school on a full scholarship.
Okay, so the cheerleading, did it start in high school or earlier?
I started cheering when I was 9. And I started dancing when I was 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So by the time you graduate high school, you were fully, kind of experienced and everything else like that.
Absolutely, for sure. Now, I did go to FAMU. That was a culture shock. So I wasn't used to all the, like down south stuff. But I learned.
She wasn't used to the black stuff. She went to a historically black college coming from an all-white school, and it was a culture shock. A culture shock for her to go to HBCU. Translated it for you.
Very quickly. So.
Okay. So like you said, you went to Florida A&M.
Mm-hmm.
And you were cheering there as well, right?
Yes. And I was also in Mahogany Dance Theater.
Got it. What was the experience of cheering for like a huge school like that as opposed to just high school?
I think definitely the audience, the crowd, it's just unmatched. And I mean, people say all the time when you go to these college games, it's going to like change your life, or it's an experience that you can't forget. I think for me, my high school was really good in sports. So we got that side. We got that crowd. We got all of that. But I think going to a school where I'm cheering for people who look more like me, I think that's what really, and I guess he was there with a couple of his friends. I know now it was iRobot. I kept saying it was Transformers, but he walked in and he looked at my friend and I, and he was like, "Y'all in my book." I was like, "What are you talking about?" He said, "It's your book." And I was like, "No, I'm grown." And he was like, "No, my magic book. I'm Dwight." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "I think she just said that." But I had a boyfriend at the time, so I really wasn't trying to like talk to him like that. And also because he had braces, he
wasn't attractive.
Wasn't it? So
but he had money.
I went into the theater, and my boyfriend at the time, he called me, and he thought I was cheating on him. He thought I was at the movies with like guys. And so I went to the bathroom, and I'm like crying outside the bathroom because I'm, arguing with him. Like, I'm here by myself. Well, not by myself. I'm here with my friends, blah, blah, blah. And Dwight walks up, and he sees me crying, and he's just standing there looking really awkward. So I went in the bathroom. When I came back out, he was still there, and he was like, "No man should ever make you cry like that." And even then, I was kind of a B to him. I'm not gonna lie. I was like,
that's a red flag right there. As soon as he say that, he gonna make sure he make you holler. He gonna make sure you cry tears.
like, thank you. And I kept it moving. After the movie was over, they saw us outside, and I guess he'd been waiting for me, and I gave him my number. I only gave him my number, honestly, because I was going to make my ex jealous, but we didn't get back together, so.
Damn.
I don't know.
Okay, so your ex, did he play ball also?
No. We went to college together.
Got it.
Ain't that hurt when you try to get back and it don't even work? You try to get back, make this man jealous, and he still leave you? Oh, my heart is broken. I really was the problem.
So, at one point, you and Dwight started actually dating.
Yes.
Okay. Had you dated someone who played professional sports up to that point?
No.
Okay. So this is your first experience with them. All right. So how did it really progress once you started dating?
So for about 2 months, I actually didn't go out with him, and I would get mad if he called me before 10 o'clock.
Okay. So now you guys are back on again.
Mm-hmm. And off. And on.
And off. I mean, does it get serious, exclusive, talk of marriage, engagement, anything at one point?
Oh, he used to ask if he could keep me. He acted like he was Casper, Can I keep you? And I would tell him, like, what my mama used to tell me, I'm not a kept woman. But he was always, back then, he was very sweet. He would, like, buy little things. I remember when he got sponsored by Adidas, I was getting all these Adidas outfits. So back then, he was a different person than he is now.
Okay. And then you get pregnant in, is it 2007 or 2006?
I got pregnant in 2007. I'm now dancing with the heat.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. So you get pregnant. Was it planned?
No. Not at all.
Okay. Okay, were you on birth control? Was he using condoms? I mean, you say it wasn't planned, but when you do certain things happen.
Oh, I hear you.
Right?
And the answer to both of those is no. And the reason that is, I wasn't dating anybody. Dwight and I had broken up back in December. So I wasn't on birth control. I wasn't having sex with anybody. I was chilling, I actually got suspended from the Heat for 2 weeks, and I went to Mexico with DJ Irie.
The world is ready. Come join the action and study for a film degree with us.
Phone was blowing up, and it was him. And he was trying to apologize. Oh, I wanted to refrain from taking that chance of seeing somebody that I knew and doing something that So he didn't talk to me actually for 2 days. I had to contact his best friend. And then his best friend was like, I guess he told him, bruh, you need to call her. And so he finally called me and he was like, what you talking about?
She's talking about her phone.
And I was like, you know you didn't pull out. And I'm like, and you're the only person I've been with. I don't know that. Okay, so now this is a game we're playing.
So right now I'm really trying to understand, what is the purpose of the interview? Like, what, as far as her sitting down, or even Vlad inviting her out, I wonder what is the purpose? Is it to expose Dwight? Is it to talk about her son's allegations and her recent charges? I'm trying to understand, because her and Dwight Howard were together in 2006, and we're talking about this. But we're gonna keep going. Maybe there's a point to the madness.
I did ask him for money because I did want to have an abortion. And he said he would only give it to me if I came back to Orlando because I needed to prove to him that I was pregnant. I didn't want to go back to Orlando and do it because I know a lot of people in Orlando. So I wanted to refrain from taking that chance of seeing somebody that I knew and doing something that I knew that I probably shouldn't based on, how I was raised. So I asked my mom. She said I had to tell my dad. That's when everything changed. I told my dad, and he was like, we don't do that in this family. He was like, you're grown, you're 27, or you're about to be 27. He's like, so, you're a woman enough to lay down, you're going to be a woman enough to take care of a child. And I thought I saw my whole career.
But it's still your choice. I'm saying, yes, your father is saying this, and your mom has her 2 cents, but at the end of the day, it's your body. This is a permanent situation. So people could give you their opinion, but ultimately, if you wanted to get an abortion, and you could probably go to Planned Parenthood, which is probably free, what I'm saying, or there's very low-cost solutions for this kind of thing. Had you want to do it, you didn't need to wait for Dwight Howard to give you the money, right?
Yes and no. I was not a very experienced, young lady. So I had never been pregnant before. I had never even known anyone to have an abortion. So although I wanted to have it, I also didn't know how to do that by myself. So when I'm asking for help and I'm asking for money, I also know now having talked to these people that someone's going to have to take me home, and then they're like, or you can do the pill version. But my entire pregnancy, like I said, it was hell. My family was there for me, but I almost looked at it like a lesson. And I just promised myself the next child I would have, I would definitely be married, or at least minimum engaged. Otherwise, I'm going to a sperm bank. And then I don't care,
But that's interesting, though. If you go to the sperm bank, you're still not married or engaged. But I understand when someone treats you like crap while you're pregnant, that really turns you off from being pregnant ever again. And what she's saying is that Dwight changed once she became pregnant with his son. She wanted to get an abortion and she didn't.
trying to fight it at every turn?
No, we actually went to mediation, and the crazy part is my attorneys are actually wanting me to fight for a lot more, almost double. And I said I didn't want to be known as that girl. I'm like, because I just want him to take care of Braylon. And what I've been doing for those 8 months was begging for diapers and like clothes, like little things like that. I didn't want him to take care of me. And he offered to buy me a house. I turned down the house because he wanted the house in his name. And I just...
So if your baby daddy offered to buy you a house, but it's in his name, would you accept it, yes or no? I'm gonna put that question in the comments.
That didn't feel right. My dad was like, no, because that means he could take it from you at any moment. He did buy me a car. Same thing though. It was in his name, so I kept my car. And then he decided, well, I'll just refurnish your townhouse. Okay, but he didn't do anything for the nursery. So, oh, and he bought me a sidekick that I still have. But I was just asking for a lot of just simple help, and he wouldn't provide it. So that's...
So, Deasia, no, and I wouldn't either. Because why is it in your name? For number one. But it seems like, it's just weird. It seems like he was trying to do everything to, for her, but not for the kid. Because she said that he offered to refurnish her the current condo that she was in, but he didn't do anything for the nursery. So what are we doing? He wanted to buy her a car. So it's like she's asking for diapers and clothes for the baby, but he want to buy her houses and cars. And maybe at that time, maybe you know, that was his way of ensuring her stability. But if it's in his name, he definitely was going to take it and kick her out to the curb. But at the same time, if it wasn't her name, she probably wasn't obligated to pay any mortgage or anything like that. I don't know. It just seemed weird that he was willing to do all of that, but not willing to buy the baby diapers, which is like maybe $5-10. Right, Deasia, that's backwards as hell. Baby daddies be tripping. These type.
That's why I had to take him to court. And again, my attorneys wanted me to ask for way more, and I didn't want to break him like that. I didn't want to be known as like a gold digger.
So first of all, we got to understand this. When it comes to the court of law in child support, the court decides what is fitting for the situation. You will not be breaking him for whatever the court decides. The court decides based on calculations, based on your income, his income, the needs of the kid. And particularly what courts, the idea is that the kids are able to have a balanced, supported life. So if the one parent is living this way, they want the other parent to live this way. I mean, they want the main parent that is taking care of the kid to live this way. So she's saying that she could have gotten more from him than the $1,300 a month from Dwight Howard, but she didn't want to be considered a gold digger. And there comes a point as being a woman where you got to let go of what people think of you as, and you got to play that shit accordingly, because he's not worried about his kid with you. So if the court says that he should pay more, that's up to the court, baby. It's above me now, because she was asking for diapers, she was asking for clothes, and you didn't want to do that. So maybe you want to pay more and be forced. And for some reason, men respect the court more than they respect the kid's mother, or more than they respect having the responsibility of being able to provide the needs. These type of men in this situation. So what I'm getting from Royce right now is it's a lot of self-consciousness on her about how she's perceived. It's a lot of things, and I think as women we go through that a lot because we have these rules on how we should act. Men pretty much have rules. Be whatever you want, just don't be anything like a woman. Don't be soft. Don't have sex with other men. You know. But it seems like with Royce, her issue has been how she's perceived. She wanted to get an abortion, but her dad told her, you was woman enough to lay down, you're going to take care of it. Her baby daddy wasn't there for her during her pregnancy, you know. So it's sad that she was forced to go forward with something that she truly did not want. That wasn't her intention. So now she has the baby and she's doing everything on her own. This man is a multi-million dollar athlete with one kid, and he didn't want to buy diapers. The fuck? So that's where we're at. So we're going to get through a little bit more about this child support. I'm going to be skipping through, getting to the good parts, because I honestly don't want to sit through Royce talking for an hour and 15 minutes, because I'm still not understanding the direction of the interview, but let's go.
Oh.
Well, I mean, to give sort of a backstory here, Dwight Howard earned around $350 million during the course of his career. So how much were you getting initially for child support?
Initially, $2,500.
That's it.
And then it went up to 13. My attorneys were pushing for
13,000.
13. My attorneys were pushing for 30, but I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Especially because we were supposed to have
13
joint
seems a little
custody.
light. I mean, I'll be honest, for someone who's making hundreds of millions of dollars.
Wait a minute. So it was 2,500 and it went up to 13,000. Vlad is saying that that's like, I don't know. You know, me being low middle class, right on that poverty line, 13,000 I think is decent. But who knows? Maybe what y'all think? If he's made over $350 million in his career, paying 13,000, started out paying 2,500, paying 13,000 a month child support. What y'all think? I think that's pretty decent. Her lawyer wanted her to get 30,000 a month, and she probably could have gotten 30,000. But that's rich folk business. Let me mind mine.
I know.
And kids are supposed to have the same type of lifestyle that the more highly paid parent has. 13 just seems low. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but again, I was very, very naive and I guess gullible to a certain extent, because I just felt like he was young, you know, I was slightly young as well, and we were just trying to navigate life and a life-changing situation. And he had already started dating someone else, which was fine. You know, I was trying to move on. I didn't want it to seem like it was about money. I just want...
All right, y'all. Commercial break. So what y'all think?
life. So I settled, and we were supposed to have joint custody, but yeah, that didn't really happen. And then, yeah, nannies got involved, and the next time y'all see me smiling a mugshot, it'll be because I found her.
Okay, we'll get to that.
So I'm thinking they're saying that the nanny is who took advantage of her son. That's why she says the next time she's smiling at her mugshot is because she found her, but we're gonna see.
During the time, so after you had the baby, it sounds like you guys were essentially separated, and
Yes.
just occasionally, he would occasionally co-parent based on what you're saying. But leading up to that time, you did have a relationship, and you did spend a lot of time together. At any point, did you feel that he was bisexual, gay, anything of that sort?
I knew it was freaky. I didn't know that he liked to be with men, but I knew he was freaky. There were certain things that, he would want to do that I would decline. But again, back then I'm thinking, like, are people really doing this?
But what kind of things? Are we talking butt play? What kind of things he wanted you to do? He wanted you to put a finger up there? Because there's some things that implies that he may like me, and some things is freaky. I mean, what are we talking about? Because rap music done said it all. I don't know, like, what kind of things he wanted you to do? He wanted you to dress up? Girl, you knew he was gay. We always know when we think about it.
You know, I'm not there yet, but, you know, I just thought it was because I wasn't that experienced.
Okay, but he never suggested anything with another man or someone who's trans or anything of that sort?
No.
Okay. All right, well, you have your baby, and then in 2010, you joined Basketball Wives.
Mm-hmm.
So what made you to decide to actually go on reality TV at that point?
Well, Shawnee reached out to me and she was like, hey, I have this guy, Tom Huffman. He's trying to put together a show. And he's asking if I know anybody that was going to be a lot more dramatic than... So I was actually getting paid into that, like through that company. I've had a bank account since I was in high school. And...
I'm going to go back a little bit because she was giving some good financial tips.
It seems like more drama started happening. So I guess that year, Dwight Howard took your car and froze your bank account?
Yes. He did not take my car, but he did take my mom's bank account. So I was actually being paid through my 501c3 because I had started a dance company for, you know, brown girls.
Can somebody with financial experiences explain that to me? She was getting paid through her 501c3. So when she was on the reality show, she gave them her nonprofit. Is that a nonprofit? 501 is a nonprofit code, right? Let me look it up. Because I got to learn something today. To the point to where, what is this? Organizations. Yes, so this the tea. This the financial tea. When Royce was on Basketball Wives, she was getting paid those thousands of dollars to her 501c3 because she had a dance company supporting brown girls. So first off, I can imagine that she eventually got more funding for the nonprofit. That's how you do it. Whenever you get paid, you get the money that you're making, you pay it to your 501c3 to show that contributions are being made so she's able to get more funding. And for that reason, when Dwight Howard tried to seize her money, he cannot touch that nonprofit money. He cannot touch her real money. So the account that she's had with her mother for all them years was frozen. She a smart woman. I like that. Let's write that down.
And, you know, it was a mentoring company.
Let's read Chris' comment. No, if I'm making $350, my child making $350, but he didn't want no parts of the child. No way. That's why he ignored the request for the diaper and was trying to buy houses and car. That's really a good point. That's an actually great point. And I think it's a conversation that has been had lately on social media. If the man doesn't want a baby and you have the baby, then you deserve to be a single mother and all of that, and he don't have to take care of it. And it's like, bro, at the end of the day, everybody grown. We both laid up. You don't want the baby? I don't want the damn baby. How about that? And, you know, if a mother was to say, I didn't want to have this baby, I didn't have the money for an abortion. The economy is not supporting me as a single mother. The dad is not there. So I'm going to neglect this baby. I'm not going to feed this baby. I'm not going to clothe this baby. I'm not going to give the baby the nutrition it needs, the emotional support it needs. Matter of fact, while I'm pregnant, I'm not taking no prenatal vitamins. I'm not doing anything to support this baby. She will be ruled as a horrible mother. And we've seen those cases a lot. We've seen those cases. If the woman was to have the baby and give the baby up for adoption, that ruins the kid on feeling unwanted and feeling unloved. So I can understand that he did not want the baby. She wanted an abortion. He didn't push it. And he wasn't paying for diapers and stuff, but he wanted to buy her a house. Rich folks' problem. Let's remind ourselves this is rich folks' problem. This ain't us regular people problems.
As well. So I was actually getting paid into that, like through that company. I've had a bank account since I was in high school. And as you know, when you open a bank account as a minor, your parent has to be a part of it. So my mom's account was connected to that account. So she could put money in, she could take it out, but I couldn't take anything from her, vice versa, right? My Social Security was attached to that account. So they were able to garnish my mom's entire account just because it was connected to mine.
How much was garnished?
Over $8,000.
Okay, and what was the justification for him taking $8,000 from your mom? I mean, I guess from you technically, but essentially from your mom.
He claimed he didn't know that's what happened. He doesn't know anything about that. He didn't tell his attorneys to do anything. So I've asked for all these years, why not give it back? And it's radio silence.
Okay, and I remember in 2012, did he have a gag order on you?
So, yeah, the gag order is actually an agreement that I signed willingly. And I didn't realize that's what it was. I was told that it's basically saying that I won't talk trash about him on the show. And I had signed it actually before we even started filming. And they knew about it on the show and everything. So I'm just going through this.
Dwight,
We're EF Ultimate Break. The best.
Little bathroom break.
physical situations or anything of that sort?
Yes.
Okay. Can you talk about that?
He's never hauled off and just punched the crap out of me, but I've been dragged, I've been thrown, I've been shook.
God damn, he might as well have punched you. All of those things is just as worse. And you know, here's the thing. I think when it comes to domestic violence, we question on, is this actually domestic violence? I remember asking myself, confused, because I was choked. Like, is this domestic violence? And it's like, if you have to ask that question, it's domestic violence. He didn't punch you, but he slammed you. He threw you. His Dwight Howard's big tall self was dragging your little skinny self. Definitely domestic violence, honey. Definitely abuse. On top of the mental abuse, the emotional abuse of not being there for his kid. Now I'm wondering, was this while they were dating? Or was this while y'all was baby mama, baby daddy, and he was just fed up?
Are shaken. I've been cursed out. I've had my life threatened. I've had a knife pulled on me. I've been told that if he killed me now, that he could get away with it because he's baby Jesus. Orlando loves him. And I was in his house. He could claim self-defense.
Damn.
I always prided myself for not being in a situation like that. But you don't realize you're in it until you're there. Mm-hmm. And then when I said this before.
So let's talk about that. She said she always prided herself for not being in a violent, abusive situation. And you don't really know that you're in that type of situation until you're there. Let's break down that thought process of that being a prideful thing of you as a person, that a man that I love has never put his hands on me. That's a good thing. I've never been in a domestic violence situation. I think as women, until we get the experience of life, we separate ourselves from other women of feeling like, I'm up here, you're here because you've experienced this and I haven't. But one thing that we notice as being humans, but especially women, is that the only thing that separates you from another person is a decision. and we all are capable of making the same decisions. Don't get that confused with it's your fault, because what somebody else does to you is never your fault. The decision of being with a person, their decision to react a certain way in the cultural acceptance of these decisions. Because when a woman is abused, it's always she's guilty. She's guilty until proven innocent. She's lying. It's automatically assumed that she's lying. And we want to, it's like we always try to find the angel in the demon. And also, we're having a hard time as a society of accepting someone's flaws or their shortcomings, their dark side, without labeling them. But that's very sad.
An ant fighting an elephant. It's kind of like you can say what you want, but who's going to actually believe you? You know? So I finally walked away when he put his hands on Braylon. And that's when life really changed. Because, again, if I ever left him, he would make my life hell. And, yeah, we're below hell.
Season 5 of Basketball Wives.
I'm really mad that Vlad didn't expand more on that. I'm mad he didn't expand more on him putting his hands on Braylon, their son. I think that has a lot to do with Dwight Howard's case of child abuse that he has currently. So he was abusing the mother and abusing his son.
You were not part of that.
No.
Okay, so
Are you talking about Miami? Are you talking about LA? Are you talking about the franchise?
creating a bunch of artificial drama and, you know, that type, and to expose all of 8 Dwight Howard's baby mamas.
Uh-huh.
So he has 8 baby mothers.
I don't know that for sure.
Well, I mean, these are all half siblings of your child, so shouldn't you know?
I should know. But, you know, there's money involved. And if, you know, there are other people out there that don't want to be known, then that is their choice. That's not for me to speak on because I don't know for a fact.
Okay, do you know of any other kids that he has for a fact?
Yeah, the other 4 that he claims.
Okay, so you know of 4.
Yes.
Does your son have a relationship with them at all?
His sister, yes. Well, one of his sister that lives in Orlando, yes. His other sister, which is the same age, they do, but only when they see each other because she lives in Canada. And then his little brothers, yes and no. It's only when they're together. You know what I mean? They don't spend a whole lot of time together. So, I mean, they have the, I guess, you know that saying, like, when you see someone after you haven't seen them for a long time, and it can kind of just...
Chris, you have a point, and, you know, that's the thing. When we talk about, it's not that much love, people are just toxic. I think that goes back to what I was saying, that sometimes we try to see the angel in the demon. Because when these people are in relationships, in an abusive relationship, a lot of things that holds them are the good times. Because, you know, in a lot of cases, they're not just being abused every day physically. Everything is good, then it's an argument, a misunderstanding. And what that person, that's the abuser, has a issue with communication, comprehension, and conflict resolution, resolving conflicts. So a lot of times it can be a back and forth of, it's my fault, I shouldn't have said this, I shouldn't have said that, I was tripping, etc., etc. But a healthy relationship is one where 2 people can express themselves, man and woman. And I think it has a lot to do with what we saw modeled before us. A lot of us haven't really seen healthy relationships. And sometimes we have seen healthy relationships, but the ones that matter wasn't healthy. Like, I've seen healthy relationships with my godparents and with my aunt and uncle, and they've gotten into disagreements. My godparents will argue, yeah. A few minutes later, they're back laughing, you know. And it was so confusing to me as a kid watching that, you know. But yeah, so I agree. Now, Chris said she should have been left and reported him. Now, you do have to understand the emotional and mental things that he would say. At this time, Dwight Howard, like she said, was Florida's golden child, golden boy. She was feeling like the little disadvantaged person that no one would believe me. And I think that once he abused the kid is when she got that courage, because a lot of times we wake up when it comes to our kids. We will take a lot of things, but he was saying things like, I could kill you and no one can get away with it. You're in my house. No one would ever believe you, you know. And those are very realistic things. So I think it's a lot of things that played into her staying. And I think once he started abusing their son, Braylon, is when she decided to leave.
Just go back to how it used to be. It's kind of like that, I guess.
Okay, so you know 4, but you think there's 4 others, but you're not sure.
Are you talking about his kids?
Because Braylon was going through therapy.
Wait,
and
let's go back.
Who essentially said what happened.
Wait.
And you know what I mean? They don't spend a whole lot of time together. So, they have I guess, you know that saying, like, when you see someone after you haven't seen them for a long time, and it can kind of just go back to how it used to be. It's kind of like that, I guess.
Okay, so you know 4, but you think there's 4 others, but you're not sure.
I don't know.
Got it. Okay, so in 2022, there was a situation where you were arrested and charged with child neglect.
Mm-hmm.
So what exactly happened?
So I actually found out some information that had happened about 2 years prior, and I called the therapist and I reported it. Because therapists are mandated reporters,
So this is my question I'm going to put in the comments. If you find out some information about your kid sexually abusing another kid, who do you contact?
It turned into me getting charged with child neglect. But I am the one who made the phone call.
So Royce right now, she is not being accountable for what her play in it. She's saying she ended up being charged with child neglect when she knew that her son had previous mishaps with abusing kids and he was not allowed around other kids, and she had him around other kids. So although she contacted the therapist, they charged her because she knew he wasn't allowed around other kids, and she did it anyway.
I'm the one who essentially said what happened, and I guess me doing that got me in trouble, but
girl,
I'm a very honest person, and I don't lie. So again, I called the therapist and I told him what happened, and he said he appreciated me telling him, but he had to report it. So,
well, what exactly did you report?
That a situation happened with my son a couple years prior.
What was the situation?
And I just felt like he needed to know, just because Braylon was going through therapy. And I just felt like this was another situation. And
what if you could get your music submitted to over 100 Spotify?
Commercial break.
The same time as the other. And I just felt like it was something that needed to be told. But yeah, I got in trouble for telling.
Okay, because there was a whole situation. You called Dwight Howard E.
So what do y'all think about that? I really want some thoughts. If you found out your kid abused another kid, who's the first person you contacted? I think she did the best thing contacting the therapist. I do. But for her being oblivious to why she was charged with neglect and saying, well, I'm an honest person, they're not saying that you didn't lie. It's just that what you reported implicated you of charges of child neglect. Because your son wasn't supposed to be around other kids, and you told this story where you had your son around other kids and he ended up abusing another kid. So, you know, that is a sticky situation, and I do think that she did what she thought was best, and that's tough. That is so tough as a parent to make a decision on what to do and how to help, or, you know, what to do with your kid that has those demons of sexually abusing people.
Evil.
Yes.
And I guess has something to do with, well, you said this man is evil. Y'all fall for it every time. Ask him why he's telling a 12-year-old he's gay because he hasn't touched anything or watching porn with them.
Mm.
Wait, let's backtrack. So Dwight Howard... Wait a minute. Oh, Dwight Howard called his 12-year-old son, their son, gay because he hadn't touched or watched any porn with him. So what I'm getting is that these allegations came out of their son touching another boy. Dwight Howard, Royce reported it to the therapist, and she has him in therapy. And I'm really upset that they didn't speak about why she had him in therapy in the first thing, but she had him in therapy because it's his first, situation of him touching a young girl. A couple years later, it comes out that he touched a young boy. Dwight Howard finds out, and I'm guessing Dwight Howard is trying to straighten his young boy to not be a gay, to not be a gay male like him. So he calls his son gay because he don't want to watch porn, or what else she said, or don't want to do anything. So he was trying to straighten his son out, and a lot of times that just doesn't work. You putting your kids in a position to have sex early, especially those boys, it may turn them away from vagina, the very thing that you want them to have. Every kid should have that experience. I mean, it's a little different because he's obviously, likes what he likes. So, Dwight Howard was fighting his own demons. Dwight Howard is bisexual. It has been proven over and over again. And you can't even come out with your sexual stuff, but you want to antagonize your 12-year-old son instead of trying to teach him how to handle it, because you obviously don't know how to handle it. Yes, I do think something happened to him that caused him to be like that, and that's what I'm thinking. The nanny, because she said the next time you see me smile in the mugshot is if I find the nanny, because that has been a thing, saying that Dwight Howard's nanny sexually abused the kid, and from there he had been sexually abusing other kids.
So was this the porn situation that you reported, or?
I've reported several situations. I've been reporting that inappropriate things are happening with my son since Braylon was a baby.
Wow. Now we get into it.
And I noticed it very quickly. As a mom, I'm very involved. I notice everything. And it started with him sitting in my doorway hitting himself. And then he started touching himself funny. And that was the day that I invited the nanny inside. And I asked her why he was doing that. She couldn't explain it. So I told her if I found out that she was doing anything to my son, then we were going to have a problem. She then went and said that I threatened her. I said I didn't threaten her. I said I promised her because I'm dead serious. And fast forward a few months later, a few years later, I'm constantly emailing my attorney. He's emailing them saying like Braylon is, showing behaviors that aren't normal for a child. We ended up going to court, and I had a video of Braylon covering his face because he was saying how people were blowing smoke in his face, how Daddy's friends look like zombies at the bottom of the stairs. Daddy acts weird. He found his ball in Miss Maureen. Her boobs are like pacifiers. And this is like, he's like telling me this now, being able to vocalize it when he's like 3-4 years old.
Damn.
So if you can imagine just a little boy who to just like monster trucks and Chuggington and waking up to, Mickey Mouse Club, saying these things when he's there, you gonna keep fighting. And like I said, I went to court and I was threatened by Judge Shea if I ever made any type of accusation like that again, that he would take Braylon from me and I would lose custody. My mom was in court with me that day. I got up, I cursed that judge out. I cussed out Mayanne Downs, which was his attorney, and I walked out that courtroom. He said he was gonna hold me in contempt. I made it all the way to my car, all the way home. Nothing happened, but my mom came in and she knew my garage code. She walks in and she just hugs me. And I just break down. And she was like, the judge said that he wasn't gonna do it, but you can't say this again. So I knew inappropriate conversations were being had. I knew things were happening around my son that shouldn't be. And I saw it myself when I was there for quarantine. And I witnessed some conversations that I didn't appreciate or respect. And I got on him about those as well. And then after one argument, like a really, really crazy argument happened, I packed my stuff up. He told them not to let me go. But luckily I had a relationship with some of the other people in that house. And at like 3:34 in the morning, that button was pressed and we left.
Well, you also made a statement. You said, why did it take Dwight 4.5 years to fire the nanny that molested 2 of his kids?
Yep.
Was your kid one of those 2 kids?
Absolutely. He was the first one.
Okay.
Whew. I had to make sure I played that through to understand. So yes. Now she's saying that her kid was 3 years old when she started noticing strange behavior. He was hitting himself, slapping himself in the face, and he was touching himself inappropriately. So she automatically went to the nanny and asked why. And she told the nanny that if I found out that you've done anything to my kid, you're going to see about me. And the nanny said she threatened her. And she said, no, I promised you that. Now, she said her son said that the nanny's boobs are like pacifier. People are blowing smoke in his face. And she made a case about the nanny. She went to court and obviously she wasn't able to prove it. And the judge said that she should not make those accusations or they're going to take Braylon from him. That is a lot. I never deny mother's intuition because And she also said that that same nanny molested 2 of his kids. Why Dwight Howard had the nanny around after? I think if you even have a thought, fire her. So yes, it seems like the young boy was exposed to some things very early. Oh yeah, and daddy's friends look like zombies. So the things that she's implying, that the things that she's dealing with her son came from the dad and his weirdness. A man being bisexual is their business. I think it becomes weird when you're in the closet so much that you abuse women and that you have these people around your kids that's taking advantage of your kids. You fucked the child up. So now Royce has had child neglect cases. She's been charged with these things, and the law hasn't done anything to Dwight Howard for having that nanny around that allegedly molested 2 of his kids. What y'all think about that?
Yeah. And the other was Dwight's son or daughter? Or?
Daughter. But, her mom never knew about it because they never said anything to her. I was told because every time I would have to let my son go and he's screaming, having panic attacks. I have a whole video. I'm sitting there telling them, like, do not let her touch him. Do not let her around him. And then finally, one day at the airport, I was told by his cousin that she was no longer around. And I was like, what happened? And he's like, she did something to, I don't want to say her name because she's going to speak too. But yeah, she never knew.
Okay, was the nanny charged with anything?
Nope, she's disappeared. Nobody knows where she is. Can't find her. I've done background checks. I've tried to find her address. I've done all of that, trust me. I have tried to find her, and I haven't been able to.
I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, that's horrible. Yeah. Well, there was an episode where you talked about how Shaq used to try to flirt with you while he was still married to Shawnee. Mm-hmm. And Shaq responded, somebody needs money. Mm-hmm.
And both could be correct. I do need money because Dwight stopped paying child support 3 months ago. But the fact still remains is he did. And he knows he did.
Well, I mean, was it 1 year after Basketball Wives started, Shawnee and Shaq got divorced, right?
No, he had actually been trying to talk to me since I was dancing, period. He had actually, like, ever since I was with the Magic, he had been trying to talk to me. And he was always, like, cool. You know, it never turned disrespectful until I was with the Heat. But, I mean, even since then, like, I've seen him and it's never been any, like, craziness. Like, he's always been cool. Like, if he'll see me, he'll give me a little side hug. Like, so I don't know why he would say that because nothing ever happened. I was just saying, like, this is why I told Shawnee before we started filming because I didn't want it to come out of nowhere. I was trying to be respectful. And that's the only reason it was brought up recently. But I feel like he's in his feelings and it's like, it's not that serious. It's really not.
Well, at this point, Shaq is single and how, you know, you're going through your day and minding your own business and suddenly all this drops on you.
I just grabbed my popcorn and I just started watching the comments. And then I started getting all the Royce tried to tell y'all. Royce been said this. Y'all owe her an apology. Y'all don't owe me shit. Y'all don't owe me anything. I'm just happy that I feel like I'm vindicated and I'm getting my name back.
Well,
That's one thing about it. The truth takes a long time for people to accept. And when you live in the truth, in your truth, you will probably never get the vindication that you want. And by the time you get it, you're so over it, you don't even care. Live in your truth.
I mean, earlier in the conversation, I asked you, did you feel that Dwight was gay or bisexual? And you said, well, he liked some freaky stuff, but, you know, he never brought a man home or a trans home or anything else like that. So what have you been saying that made you feel like this was going to come out eventually?
Well, because of what I experienced and witnessed during quarantine. You didn't ask me about that. You asked me before.
What happened during quarantine then?
There were a lot of parties, and we're supposed to be on quarantine. So that was an issue in itself because who are these people? Why are they here? You know, have they been tested? You're saying the world is ending, but yet you're inviting the world over. And it was all types of people. Every pronoun was there. And
so she's saying that Dwight Howard was hosting LGBTQ friendly parties during quarantine. And she was at the house. So what was this relationship? Like, were y'all together? Like, what's going on? So she's saying these things happened while the kid was around.
And I was beyond, like,
The fasting mimicking diet is exact.
And I was shocked because I had actually gone to sleep. I had taken a nap. I woke up and it was like the sun had just started going down. Like, you could even see like the little fireflies. And I walked out and I felt like I was in an episode of something because it's people throwing up over the balcony. Like, you got others cursing each other out, calling each other bitches, and then I'm sitting here first thing after seeing this is, where's my child? So I walk in the house. I see him even before I walk in the house. What's wrong? Where's Braylon? I don't know. He's somewhere. Seriously? So I walk in the house, and that's when I see all the paraphernalia on the table, some with peanut butter, and I lose it. And then there's a girl who just peed in a seat. And then, like, I don't even know if Kitty was there. I might have met Kitty. I don't know. I met a lot while I was there. And I just went upstairs and I found Braylon, and he was in like this room connected to his room with a TV. And I'm like, hey, hi, mommy. I'm like, you okay? He was like, yeah. And I'm like, what's wrong? Nothing. And I'm like, what's wrong? Nothing. And I had to keep asking him. And then he finally told me that he went downstairs to get something to eat. He wanted a snack. And I remember grabbing him and being like, did you take anything off that table? And he swore no. But I asked him so many times because I needed it to be reiterated like so many times to me. And he just swore no. And then he asked what it was. And then he was like, he wanted some peanut butter. And then he asked why his dad was being so mean. And we ended up going into my room because I was in the guest house. I wasn't even in the main house, which is why I didn't even hear a lot of the stuff going on. And went back to the guest house, and he laid down. He just started watching, TV. And I remember going back out there, and I was just going off on everybody. Kevin Wesley was there. And he's the one that is in all this polygamy stuff too. And then his friend at that moment, Callie, I remember him like going off on him.
So in reference to peanut butter, I had to Google it. Peanut butter for something relation to meth, so they was doing meth at this party. And her son wanted peanut butter.
And then I even remember the next day him threatening to shoot up the entire house because of some gay shit. I didn't know what that gay shit was. But I knew I needed to get up out of there, and that's when that argument happened later on that night because this guy was posting all these videos over YouTube. And he was talking about what had just happened that night before. And I knew I was at the house. And I'm like, I got to get out of here because this is child endangerment. And I told him I was leaving later on that evening, and it turned into this big, huge argument. And he was threatening me. His face had gotten like, I could tell he was on something, but I knew I needed to leave. And, one of his, the guys that used to work for him, I think he was his trainer. He was actually there. He was a third party. And he watched it. And he was even trying to get him to calm down. But that's when I knew I had to pack my shit up and we got to get out of this house because it's getting really dangerous and reckless. And we left. 3:30 that morning, 3:34.
Okay, so Dwight Howard's lawyer responded, said that it was a consensual encounter and is being exploited for profit.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, listen, to be fair, people do sue wealthy people for profit, make up a whole bunch of stuff and expect a settlement, so it doesn't go to court and further embarrassment happens. Do you feel that this situation was consensual and Dwight Howard's being shaken down for money? Or do you think that something sideways happened and Dwight popped up with this transgender person and, against this person's will?
So I can't speak on their situation because I wasn't there, but what I can speak on is what happened with me. And the story that he's given is very parallel with what happened with us. And I think what people miss is...
But she just said he didn't try to bring another man into the room. Maybe it was a girl.
When you say someone can just get up and leave, in my situation, I've been dragged. I've been slung across the floor. I've been verbally, emotionally abused. And if I feel like I'm gonna be basically like knocked out if I don't do something, if I'm that intimidated, then I'm just gonna do it. Because one, it's something I've done before, you know what I mean? So this time just make it seem like I want to, you know what I mean? Because otherwise you can't bite it, because then you're really gonna get knocked out. I think that would just be a natural reaction of any guy. But when you have someone who has so much power over you, and not just personally, but just even in your life and in your career, you just gonna sit there and take it, and you're gonna do whatever they want you to do because you're gonna hope it's over soon, and then you're just gonna pick yourself up and try and live. Even when I went for quarantine, people asked me, well, why did you go if you hated him so much? Hope. You know, people are like, oh, why? Yo, she's talking now. I've been talking. It's just people are listening now. But I've been screaming for help. So all of this has been documented. And I still was told that I can't say anything. I was still told that if I ever made an accusation, I would lose my child. You know? So I remember being in that position on my knees. I remember crying. I remember wanting it to be over. And when it was, I picked myself up and I kept moving because there's nothing I could do. Quarantine, I felt like this is my chance to at least have a better life for Braylon. Because it can't get any worse, right? This is my surrender flag. This is why I'm here. But then all hell broke loose again.
So what she's implying is that Dwight Howard has, I'm guessing, sexually assaulted her. It's unclear if it's another man. Maybe he made her give oral to another man. She really didn't say. She said in relation to the guy that exposed him, she said that it happened to her. That she remembered being on her knees and crying, and she was drugged and slung. And so I'm really upset that Vlad didn't ask her to expand more on that, because at the beginning of the interview, she said that Dwight Howard has never brought another man into their bedroom. But now she's saying that it happened to her. So maybe he forced her to do it to him. I don't know. But it seems like she's had a lot of sexual, physical abuse. And it seems like there's going to be another surviving Dwight. Listen, 2024 and beyond is going to be the year of exposing all of these people who was hidden by the fame, the money, and the endorsements. All of these people are about to get exposed. And this was just a regular day in the life of someone famous across every single field. You got the music field. He's in sports. He's having these wild drug parties with transgender men, and doing whatever that they do. I'm sorry, transgender women doing whatever that they do with each other while his son is in the room. They have drugs on the table, meth and other type of things, while his son is in the other room. But he hasn't been charged with child neglect. She has been charged with child neglect, and she has been threatened by the judge that her son will be taken from her if she makes an accusation, because Dwight Howard's nanny was sexually abusing her son and his daughter. And when he found out that she was abusing his daughter is when he got rid of her.
Well, when the story came out, Dwight Howard responded. You would think he would say, I'm not gay, this is all made up, I'm just being shaken down, I'm into women, look at all my kids, this proves that, I'm straight. But he said, where I lay my wood is my business.
He also said that he was engaged and married to Taya Cooper, and she's since come out and said that they were never engaged or married. So just because you're parading your kids, you were parading girlfriends as well. So we don't know if you have a beard or a mustache.
Okay. Well, then my man, Coach PR, he interviewed him, and he put out this clip recently. He had actually held on to it for a bunch of months. And in the interview, he flat out asked Dwight, are you gay? And Dwight just sort of danced around the question. He didn't actually say yes or no. You know the interview that I'm talking about?
I saw it like that clip. And he was like, that's what y'all want to talk about?
I mean, knowing what you know now, do you think that Dwight is straight, gay, bisexual? How would you define it?
I just think he's a little bit freaky.
Girl.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I think he's that entire alphabet.
Okay. The whole alphabet.
I think he's that whole alphabet. I don't even want to start it because I don't know all of them, but I think he's curious.
Maybe he's being curious.
I'll leave it at that. But I also think it's a slap in the face to that community, because he's claiming to be a certain way, but then denying the other side of it, which is just, I just hope he doesn't try and lean on, another community because they think they're going to save him when he's dealing with what he's dealing with. It doesn't come down to who you are, what you like, what you're being accused of.
So this is probably the weirdest thing you've ever...
We're almost done.
Serious and trying to make light of that and talking about it doesn't matter where I lay my wood, y'all weird. You're the one that's jumping in people's DMs. And having strangers in your house while your child is there. That's the problem. That's what people are having issues with. It's not about what you like. It's about what you're doing.
What you're doing.
And that is the problem. That is reckless. It's dangerous.
Well, I mean, it's 2023.
Doesn't matter. It's still reckless.
No. Well, hold on. Let me just finish the statement. What I'm saying is the stuff with the children is unexcusable. I get that part, right? So regardless of your sexual preference, kids need to be protected and sheltered. 100%. I am. There's no gray area when it comes to that. But when it comes to someone's sexuality in 2023, people who come out as gay generally get embraced by the world. Lil Nas X, I don't think he'd be as huge as he is by just being a straight cowboy rapper. You know what I'm saying? The fact that he has fully leaned into being gay, I think that put him where he is. Frank Ocean came out as gay and no one really cared. So yes, he plays basketball and so forth, but if he just fully embraced, hey, listen, I'm gay or I'm bisexual or I'm into trans, I don't necessarily see a huge downside in that. I think the downside is the whole denial part of it, from my point of view. So why do you think that he doesn't just come out and say, because listen, if you say where I lay my wood is my business, you're essentially saying you're gay. Because anyone who's straight would say the exact opposite. If you ask me, I'd say, no, I'm straight. I'm only into women. Whatever rumors are, I'll address, but I'm only into women, and that's my reality. So when you sit there and put out these little cryptic messages, you're essentially saying you're gay. So why do you think he's denying all this right now?
I just don't think that he's ready to come out.
Wasn't your son, was it?
No.
Okay, so that's his other child.
That's the child that I think they would embrace it. I think you're absolutely right if he did come out that way. But I think again, what he's missing is people aren't upset about him denying if he is or he isn't. They're upset about him making light of the situation that he's being accused of. And whatever happened, you don't just sit here and get on a live and start being reckless like that. Where I put my wood, y'all weird. Like, you're basically telling on yourself.
Well, the video that came out where his son was crying during the whole workout, that wasn't your son, was it?
No.
Okay, so that's his other child.
That's the child that his mom passed. And we all went to the funeral. Found out the day we got back from the funeral, he immediately filed to stop child support, and he also did not pay for the funeral like he said he was going to.
Damn.
He has taken that child from his grandmother, which is the only family like he really knew, you know, the mom side, because Dwight was not in his life. So that little boy was ripped from everything he knew, and he barely sees that side of his family at all. They actually didn't see him for almost a year. And she's still fighting. But again, money talks. She doesn't have it. But she's trying to get her grandson back.
Well, how did his son's mother die?
She had a seizure and drowned in the toilet.
Oh my God.
Wow. Okay. I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, because that's technically someone that you're connected to as well.
Yeah. Oh, that was my dog. Me and Mimi, we were cool.
Oh, you guys were close. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that. Okay.
Yeah. She was probably the one I was closest to.
Oh my God.
And then now Tiffany.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that. That's definitely sad because I assume she was relatively young, right? Maybe in her 30s.
Yep. She was. Beautiful voice. She could paint her ass off. Like, talented. But I believe all of us are. That's the thing. Like, all of us are talented, but you wouldn't know it because he pays people not to post anything positive about us.
Do you know that for a fact?
Well, Dwight Howard went to go play in Taiwan, and he was trolling, NBA players to come join him. But now he wants to go back to the NBA. Do you see that happening?
No.
Why is that?
When I was dancing and then even when I was doing the show, you run in certain circles and you hear certain things. And I think as a collective, I don't believe that they really F with him.
So she's saying that as a collective, the NBA don't F with Dwight Howard. Somebody else said that his sexuality is the reason why he hadn't been getting picked on teams. She's confirming it.
I mean, but he's still relatively young. He's still in good shape. He can still play. And, I mean, it's not like an NBA team could turn you down just because you're gay or bisexual.
Correct.
At the end of the day, they can get sued for that type of thing. That's discrimination.
Right.
You shouldn't turn down someone just because of their sexual preference.
Absolutely.
But do you think that all this drama and all this kiddie stuff is creating a situation where teams just don't want him?
I think it's just the drama in general. Like, you're talking about a $1 billion industry, and you're talking about someone that is bringing all this drama into it that has absolutely nothing to do with basketball, and it's not, even on the level of, like, okay, you have Travis Kelce, and he's dating Taylor Swift, where everybody's loving that in the NFL. We don't have that with the NBA. You know what I mean? So I think it's something that I feel just kind of want to steer away from, and not because of his preference or anything like that. I just think because of his past and, when it comes to him being a teammate, like several players have come out and said that he's not a good teammate, so if you don't work well, doesn't matter how good you are. It was something that obviously she agreed to, he agreed to. And I think now it's time for people to just keep it pushing, because if she's okay with it, then let's keep it moving.
I mean, have you ever considered doing a similar type of lawsuit?
I have.
Okay. And what happened with that?
I'm still considering it.
Still considering it?
Mm-hmm.
Right, because...
Exactly.
What it's like to be a Fairfax egg bank.
Wait, they say you can receive $48,000 to be an egg donor? Sign me up right now. You can have all my eggs. Anybody need $48,000? Go to this website. Apply now.
Dealing with it emotionally, mentally, you know, even physically. So
He ended up getting out on appeal, but still he had to go through that whole situation. So you don't know. We don't know. We'll never know.
right.
It just is what it is at this point. So what's next for you?
Well, right now I'm coaching. I'm coaching at BCU, Bad Cats cheer, and I love it. I definitely want to pursue, you know, doing movies and, you know, shows again. I definitely miss performing myself. I definitely miss.
Okay, that's the end of the interview. We got the gist of it. You guys can go to Vlad TV to view the rest. So, guys, this was so much. It was a very heavy interview. And I can understand Royce's frustration. Royce is blaming Dwight for her son's issues. Now, what I find interesting is that before this interview, they had already been in a custody battle. Because Dwight says that... let me find it. Dwight was questioning Royce's parenting skills. Now, Royce said it was Dwight who has had Braylon around his parties and things. But Dwight has been trying to take her to court. And she didn't mention that custody battle at all. Dwight was under investigation for beating his at that time 6-year-old son Braylon with a belt buckle. They didn't have enough evidence to go forward, but it happened in Georgia. He did admit that he hit the kid, but he didn't think that it was wrong hitting him with a belt. Now, Dwight was mad at Royce because she took their son to Hooters, and she took a picture and posted it on Instagram. And there are court documents where Howard has accused Royce of exposing Braylon to sexual situation. Howard claims his son has witnessed Reed engaged in sexual acts with her numerous companions. Howard believes that the photo that she posted of her son at Hooters is just the latest example of his son being exposed to sex. Now, of course, a source of Royce said that the son's birthday party was at Monkey Joe's earlier in the day with his classmate, and she stopped at Hooters for food. And they also said that Royce had never had a man in and out of her house and has never exposed Braylon to sex. So, what are we thinking here? Royce is saying that Dwight exposed her son to things, and the nanny molested the kid, and that that results in her kid acting funny and touching himself and later abusing other kids. Royce was arrested for child neglect when she reported an incident of her son touching her boyfriend's son, and they reported her for child neglect because he wasn't supposed to be around other kids. In 2020, Royce went back to Dwight, and he was having a party in the main house. She said there was a lot of people from the LGBTQ community there, and there was drugs on the table, and her son was in another room. She said she was staying in the guest house, and she went over to the main house. So she was upset because he was exposing, like, why are you doing this during quarantine, and our kid is in the other room. So Dwight Howard was on drugs, and he was having those parties while the son was there. She also says that Dwight has drugged her and beat her. Well, not beat, not punch her. Has slammed her. And when she got to talking about the allegations of the young man and Kitty, she says that she believes it because it's the same thing that happened to her. But earlier in the interview, she said he had never brought another man. So I don't know. What I'm getting from the situation is Royce is doing a lot of damage control. Her story is her story, and I believe it to be true to the best of her knowledge. But she is definitely leaving out a lot of stories because she didn't, or maybe Vlad didn't mention it, but she did not speak about the her accusations. So it's gonna be a Surviving Dwight Howard coming out soon. That's the end of that video. Let me know what you think. He said peanut butter could have been heroin. Baby, I don't know nothing about these drugs. I had to Google. And Google isn't street politically correct. So yeah. My brain is heavy. With all of that, it's very messy. And it sucks that that kid was given examples early. And it's a tough position as a parent to be in. But Royce has not been charged. Well, she hasn't had to face any prison time for child neglect. She has done her community service. And she is coaching. She's on her press run. She's doing these interviews. And Miss Royce is going to be getting her money soon. I wonder if she's going to be on Basketball Wives. Love and whatever it's called. Love and Basketball. I wonder if she's going to be on Basketball Wives. I wonder why now she's doing this. So guys, that's the end of this video. I think we've been on live for maybe an hour plus. Definitely over an hour. Thank you guys for tuning in with me. I do plan to go live tomorrow about Beyonce. Now, I didn't know if I wanted to get all of the facts together and present it, or if we could just like figure the facts out together like I'm researching it. We're going to be doing a case study on Beyonce and all the rumors that has been surrounding her, and study how she has been able to stay afloat and being one of the icons of music and entertainment. I'm rubbing my hair out of my face for a reason, but I appreciate it. That will be tomorrow-ish. I would like to get to it tomorrow. This video will be up on YouTube. If you're not subscribed, subscribe there. If you are here, I thank you. If you are here from a post that I posted and you didn't agree with, I absolutely hope that you find some solace in your heart. Oh yeah, I do have to do Charleston White and Cam Newton. I absolutely hope that you find some solace in your heart and find the strength to be able to agree to disagree. And what is draining for me is that there's no win with the internet. If I don't agree with something, or if I'm not a fan of something, I'm considered a hater. It's even to the point to where I'm considered being against black women, and I'm black. I don't know. I mean, I guess that don't mean anything, but yeah. So hopefully, if you disagree with a post, you're able to go on with your life. Agree to disagree, ha ha, he he, and go and be happy. And what I really realized is that a lot of people that like clicks those buttons back to back and being rude and nasty and mean, they really need a safe space. And all of us don't have that. Most of us don't have safe spaces, you know. So I look at it as they're being heard, they're being seen. And it kind of takes out all the fun. It kind of takes out all of the fun because my title is entertainment journalist, because that has been my cue. That has been my heart. I love music. I love entertainment. And I have an eye for things, following trends of the industry. I started out on TikTok with these stories about different women, mainly women. ones that we haven't heard about, telling the stories about them and, you know, what they've done. And that has been my heart. So it takes the fun out of it when people just, it's like, I don't get it. It's like when someone says something that you don't agree with, you really get so bubbled up. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Mess. And what I had a problem with when my post first started getting a lot of attention, I used to clap back. And it was funny. It was very funny. But then, although I didn't take it personal, I was able to laugh about it because one of the way I deal with life and stress and trauma is I laugh and I joke. I think I'm kind of funny too. You know, although I would be funny and, you know, say mean and nasty and funny stuff to people, at the end of the day, I realize, you know, I have to keep my integrity and have to be able to sleep well at night. The things that I say to somebody can actually, you know, hurt them just because we're going in a battle, you know. So I think we look at these people in these positions where there's a mini blogger, because I'm a very mini blogger. I'm with a very intimate space, or the big bloggers, and we look at them as being less than humans because we're communicating. That's all we're doing is communicating. Another thing, I'm gonna say it on this video because I probably will never say it again. We as a culture have to understand that each and every business is capitalizing off of our energy. Everything that you see has an intention. That intention is to get a response. For some reason, humans across all boards, but especially in our community, anger drives engagement. So as long as it's like, of all of the positive things that I post, I've done long stories about, you know, different people and their stories and shedding light to things. As long as I post that, it won't get any type of response. But when I started posting my actual true opinion, it's where those responses come off at, and it's a little discouraging. But I said what I said. I said what I said, and I just hope that I can inspire people to just be themselves and fuck the rest. Like, okay, I don't agree with you. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Miscellaneous. I hope I'm saying that right. Miscellaneous. Oh, that's like miscellaneous. You gotta have tough skin and know it comes with the job. Just keep going, and eventually people that don't like you will love you unapologetically. I agree. And it's weird because I always thought I had tough skin. Like, looking at my life and everything I've been through, like, bitch, like, y'all okay. But it's not even about, it's just like, it's more of a self battle. Because you can't do nothing when people are talking, you know, to you on the internet, which is why people do that. Like, I can't pull up. And I know 9 times out of 10, if I was to have a conversation with these people, it wouldn't be the same. I've done it before. If people, you know, people that's talking crazy on the internet and I see them, hey, you know, let's talk about it. That's almost the case 99% of the time, conflict resolution. So I definitely do have tough skin. But I'm also aware and present enough to know that it's discouraging and it's more of like, you know, just trying to figure it out. But within the months to come, you're going to see a different me, and I'm not going to care about opinions. And the thing, it's going to be making people are going to be mad because I'm going to say what I think, say what I feel, and keep it moving. Kind of like what Charleston White did. Charleston White has always been, from my understanding, a positive impact on his community. Once he started talking crazy is when people got their attention. Because we're quick to judge people and dislike people before we're quick to like them or listen to what they're saying. And the only way to get messages across is to start with triggering. Triggering people is what keeps people relevant. I hope that you take that and you put that in your heart and understand that. You being triggered is what feed these people forever. Okay? Like, I am 6 months away from my media communications degree, and we learn about all of these things. And I just so happen to care right now. But after a while, I'm not going to care. So yes, guys, thank you for that conversation. Thank you for all of the love. This is so hard. We'll be live tomorrow. Chris said, I know you probably don't go by Chris, but Chris, unless you want me to say your name, other name. Cam Newton, Charleston White, we're definitely going to talk about that. You perfect amount, so I don't care. Boy, I'm shooting your shot. Yes, I said a long time ago, we have to look like complete fools to get attention. And you know, it's crazy. Yeah, I was going to stop on the subject, but I really like to talk about this type of stuff. It's crazy because I really think black people, and of course you have the Keith Lees and, you know, things like that. You do have the Keith Lees. For my niche, it's my, like, what I do is I've tried to figure out ways to turn it into positive outreach. You know what I'm saying? But with the entertainment industry, the only thing that drives it, especially rap and R&B, all those things, is that attention seeking and you know, because they want to see black people act like fools. They want to see a black woman sound uneducated and sound like a hater and sound like a fool. That's the only way that they're able to accept us in this position. But I am not stopping what I'm doing, because I think it is important for us to have more black bloggers, more black communicators is what I call it. More black communicators and representation. Someone who can, you know, who's into the underground artists, and, you know, media is $1 billion industry. And the reason why I don't care about the things that I say about these celebrities is because these people understand the role that media plays. They cannot be paid what they're being paid if the media is not talking about them. That's why whenever they have something coming out, you're going to hear these allegations, you're going to see these interviews, you're going to see these Instagram posts. They purposely do things for us to talk about it. A lot of things is a part of their PR. While us regular people are taking this to heart, these people are the ones who manipulated this entire situation. So they're getting paid, the media getting paid, and the people are just talking. The people, everybody is eating off of the people, the regular people. We are making these people rich by our energy, the energy that we give it. And the energy that you give has been manipulated by the person that's done it. So yeah. I'm done. It was great talking to you guys. Public relations and damage control. And sometimes both of them goes hand in hand. Blogs can be paid off to say what they want to say, to dismiss things. If you've noticed, no blogs have been saying anything bad about Nicki Minaj's album. I'm not saying that it's a bad album, but there's no coincidence. These bigger artists who come out years later, they buy numbers and they buy the blogs out. Thank you, Miscellaneous, because I know that's not your name. But anyways, I know the game and I use it to my advantage. And me being so soft-hearted, it should be so sad that people self-destruct over comments. But I'm gonna be, you're gonna see more of me later. Britney Spears started selling her own pics. Yeah, they call paparazzis on themselves. These celebrities know the purpose of media. They know the purpose of it. They use it to their advantage. So if someone's talking about them or whatever, they literally don't care. They're getting paid, literally. Public relations is the #1 thing that is going to take you from a nobody to somebody. All a famous person is just that more people are talking about them. As much as I believe this rumor is true, Rihanna's PR manager is the one that started the rumor about her and Jay-Z having a relationship. I think some truth to it. But he put that out in the media. because Rihanna wasn't getting a lot of traction at that time. And you gotta go watch my video about Tierra Marie, and I went over that on how Tierra Marie was the go-to girl, whatever, you know. So her PR person put that into the media so blogs can talk about it and have the gossip that Rihanna was dealing with Jay-Z. Blueface and Chrisean has always been scripted. That's why I never followed it, but I respect it. It's all for views. And that girl Jaden she signed a deal with the record label, not a rapper. She created one song and she signed a record deal. Do you know how many artists that work their ass off on their craft and can't get a record deal? What is the difference between Jaden, Alexis, whatever her name is, and I got my lip gloss in my hand, and the talented artists that we love, that is talented as hell? We're talking about them. Why are we talking about them? Drama. Why is it drama? Because we like to see somebody else going through some shit worse than us, or the same thing that we're going through. We as a people we are led by judgment. We can't help it. We naturally judge people. We judge everything. So yes, you're right. All attention is good attention. All of these blogs and things and people are definitely they're using your energy. And that's the thing, you know, you don't want to be noticed for humiliating yourself, but a lot of people has done that. That's a price, and that goes into when they say selling your soul on a big level. Selling your soul is, you know, going against who you are. That's when the women start talking more sexual in songs. That's when the men, what they call humiliation rituals and all of that stuff. You know, it's just the way. It's just psychology of how we, the people, consumers are. We, the consumers, have the least amount of money, but we spend the most and make these corporations billions of dollars. I think that's enough jewels for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. I keep saying thank you. I also don't want to miss your comments. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the live, and we could talk more about it in the comments. I'm tired. Thank you guys. This will be up on YouTube. I always say with the chapters, but girls and boys, this hour is 2 hours long. I don't even know if I want to do chapters on YouTube sitting through 2 hours. But I love you guys, so I guess I might. I will be working on some TikTok content. If you missed the Royce video, I'll be making some TikTok videos about it, going over it. And I will be doing a Nicki Minaj Pink Print 2 review, because when I listen to it again, it's going to be the third time. And I'll have a better ear for that. And yeah, catch up on some things. Let me know what you want to hear next. What you want to see next. And thank you guys for your support always and forever. Bye-bye.